Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are.
Hello, middle of the night.
Is anybody here that's the middle of the night? I don't think so. Maybe if it was a thon, which Mags is doing on her own right now, but
I'm doing a Galding-a-thon. I took one of my surnames that has lots of issues and lots of disconnects, and I'm going through and I'm organizing the research and discovering what the research questions are so that I can spend my holidays, like through January, trying to answer some of these research questions. And it's been really fun, and lots of cousins have gotten involved. I've found DNA testers. It's like my own personal little a-thon, and I may have stayed up way too late for the past 2 nights. I may have, but yeah, it's fun.
Are you mostly doing it on WikiTree?
Like absolutely, WikiTree.
Well, I wasn't sure, like, if you were using like a database, like doing your own stuff.
I am actually creating a bunch of stuff. Like I'm using WikiTree to post the highlights of what needs to be done, so other cousins can also see it. But I'm like, I've got spreadsheets, I've got databases, I've got everything going. And what I'm doing is I'm comparing all of the trees that I've been able to find that other people have, and comparing them and comparing the source information of those trees and making charts so that the people that I need to contact to say, hey, you're missing about 4 generations between one person and the next person in your family tree, and this is how it looks with this source, and this is how this guy looks at it, so that I don't spend a lot, and I'm posting that on WikiTree so I can point people to it, so I don't get into big arguments or discussions with people. I can just say, hey, this is the comparison for you, so it works.
Yeah, WikiTree is the best for collaborative.
It is absolutely the best collaborative, yes.
And then we also have Bobbie here, who has come on to talk about, to just join us today, and also she'll talk about the Mayflower Project, which is kind of appropriate with our question of the week. And you know, this coming week is United States Thanksgiving, and so we'll have a good time today. And we have a bunch of people here. We have Hillary.
Yeah.
We have Jory. Jory's from South Africa, I believe.
Might be Miller.
If I remember correctly. No, we have Chris. My mother. Hello, Mom.
Hey,
Amy. Benjamin. Alesh. Hi, Alesh. Tommy. Yes. Hello, everybody. We'll have a good. How's everybody doing today? Anybody else?
Chris came in late. Okay. Chris came in late. Should we even tell him who Bobbie is?
Bobbie is Bobbie. That's all you need to know.
Really?
Hello, Nancy from New Jersey. Hello.
Your mother's being sweet.
So, Mags, your talks about DNA actually got my mom to do a DNA test, and she turned it in. So that's exciting.
That is exciting. We'll find out if she's a mutant or anything like that. If she has any alien DNA.
Any what?
Alien DNA.
Probably.
You know, I get that as a reply from people so often. They'll say, oh, I'm going to give you my DNA, but let me know if there's like any alien stuff in there before you tell anybody else. I'm like, are you really sure you want me to check for that?
Okay. So, wait. So Chris was asking, I guess he's asking my mom if they're going to make lasagna.
Here we go.
For Chris for Thanksgiving. Because the Italians, that's what they do. My mom is, I talked to my mom about it yesterday. She's actually doing turkey. Is she doing turkey? Yeah, she's doing turkey.
I heard on the news that there is a shortage, you know, like a toilet paper shortage and all that. There's a shortage of small turkeys.
I went out early last week to make sure I could get, I just need a turkey breast. It's just the two of us. And I'm glad I got it because when I went this week, there were none. No turkey breasts and no small turkeys. They were all like the 20-pounders and bigger.
Bobbie, do you have your computer mic on? Because we're hearing the playback of this.
Yeah, if you have it open, another tab.
Yeah, if you have it open in another tab, it'll play it in the background.
Well, let me try that. Is that any better?
I think so. Can we hear ourselves?
I was getting a lot of feedback earlier.
No, you got it. That's perfect.
I think it's good. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
Morning, Sharon.
Hello. Anybody else on Facebook? I think it was the first person I saw pop in from Facebook. Anybody else watching from Facebook? We're on YouTube and Facebook. Well, I guess we can talk about our question of the week, which is kind of appropriate.
Yes.
Right.
And again, you guys are killing me. Let me get the share up. Share screen. There we go. You guys are really killing me. There are so many answers to the question of the week.
I guess it's not horrible that,
No, it's not horrible. I love everybody jumping in, but there's pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. So here's one for William Brewster. And I actually know a lot of people who are descended from this William Brewster fella. James Stratman says that he has no Mayflower, and Stratman 17. I'm going to go over to, this is my Mayflower or Pilgrim Great Migration, Puritan Great Migration connections. And most people in the information say they have tons. I supposedly have 4, and the only surname I recognize is Benjamin Crisp. But David Mitchell, Matthew Mitchell, I kind of know where that line goes to, and then Susan Wood.
You want to show people how you got there real quick, Mags? For people
Well, actually, the way I got there today was somebody had this link to Chase Ashley's Ancestor List Maker. So I just clicked the link.
This is awesome. Absolutely awesome.
So tons and tons of people have lots and lots of stuff, but I wanted to check. So James Stratman, what was his ID down there? I wanted to check. He said he has none. There he is. Stratman 17. Let's see if he's got any. Stratman MAN 17. Am I right, everybody? Somebody check me.
I don't know. That's a small little font from my little eyes.
Yeah, I got it right.
You can click.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. He did. Okay, so James, if you're watching, you have so many Puritan Great Migration ancestors. And I don't, yeah, I see, well, no, I don't see any that would be, here we go. Yeah, no, you don't, wait, Roxbury, Massachusetts Bay, there you go.
Max, you know that there's also a category down lower for Mayflower in that list type?
Yeah, we can change that to that one. I just did Pilgrim, the Puritan Great Migration. Let's see.
I have 0 Mayflower passengers. I have 0.
Yeah, Mayflower passengers. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Try changing the generations up to 20.
20, she says.
Or whatever.
You've been playing with this too, haven't you?
I think I've done this once or twice.
Once or twice?
Once or twice.
I also have 0 Puritans.
The link to this was in the chat, and somebody else also posted a list. If you're an American Ancestors member, I actually think they had this free for a while, where you could search your their Mayflower database. So that somebody put that link up as well.
Those are all applications from previous members, all the way back 100 years ago.
Yeah, they also posted a little a portion of their magazine free to read about the Mayflower that I saw on Twitter.
So yeah, and here somebody else had put up, Will Palmer put that up. Carol Lynn Napora actually listed some and added them to a nice list here in the answers. How cool is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, well, and then other people were talking about the witches of Salem and the devil in Massachusetts. You know, they're talking about fun stuff here too. So I don't know how much fun the Pilgrims actually had. I'm thinking they didn't have a lot of fun.
I'm sure they had fun in their eyes, maybe sometimes, you know.
It was pretty tough. It was a pretty tough existence.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's pages and pages and pages of answers, and goodness gracious, thank you so much. Lots of great information. Head on over. See, look, everybody's posting about Chase Ashley's app. And to get to that, let me go to my profile. If you go to your family tree tools, and you can scroll down, and here's an ancestor list. This is a different one, but where is it?
It was the second one, Mags.
It's the second one. There we go. There it is. They should have Chase Ashley over here instead of. So here it is. So just go to your family tree and tools tab, and then scroll down, and you'll find the ancestor list maker, as well as the ancestry list maker for just basic WikiTree. So there you go. Cool beans. Great job with that, you guys. Lots of stuff.
Anybody in the chat have any Mayflower Puritan ancestors? Bobbie, do you have a lot of Mayflower Puritan?
Using Chase's app, which is why I find that thing so fascinating. I have 340 Puritan Great Migration ancestors.
I think I just broke my neck.
It did look painful. I have 3 confirmed Mayflower ancestors as well. It just comes down to where I was born. I'm from New England. My entire existence is New Englanders previous to me. So I don't think much of anybody in my family moved more than about 75 miles from where they first landed on the coast. So.
Oh, wow. You know, our WikiTree in chief has Mayflower ancestors too.
Alesh wanted us to know he does not have any Mayflower ancestors.
No, I bet not. We should put him into the list ancestor list maker just for fun.
This stuff is so fun though, because I mean, anybody that you look at, members anywhere online, almost always you find a connection somehow to them. When I first started looking at Mayflower, and I knew I had some ancestry, but I hadn't proven it. And I checked around a little bit, and it was like almost everybody that I dealt with on WikiTree that was working in New England, we were related somehow. I think the first one I ever checked was Chris, and checked Chris Whitten and me, and we're like, I don't know, 8th cousins or something. It's fascinating how we are all related.
Yeah, Mayflower. The reason we're talking about Mayflower for Alesh and for Sharon, the Mayflower Thanksgiving is celebrated in Canada and in the United States, and it's Thanksgiving holiday week this week. So all of America would normally be traveling everywhere this week, but they won't be. Everybody's going to be staying home, and they're going to be celebrating the Pilgrims landing in the New World. That's basically what it is. It's a Thanksgiving, so that they were thankful about the harvest for the very first time in the new land. They had a dinner, and so we symbolically have a dinner every year for that. So it really is just basically a U.S. and a Canadian thing. But Canada's, we live in a different climate than the United States. Ours was back in October. That's when our harvest comes in. So the people that are down in the warmer areas like Boston and all of that,
Like
boy, theirs
Florida?
is much later than us.
Yeah. And we also have a Mayflower Project. So
Really?
Yes.
Really? Really? I like this answer.
I'll have a sandwich probably.
Yeah.
So Chris was asking where in New England you're from, Bobbie.
Originally Dedham. It's just south of Boston, the first suburb south of Boston. When I was a kid, and kids get on their bicycles and they try and explore town, that kind of thing. Our neighborhood was towards the outside of town, and I would ride my bike into town. And to do that, the shortcut was to go through cemetery. And Dedham Cemetery, the Dedham Cemetery has gravestones from 1635 on up, maybe 1637. Anyway, I used to ride through there, and every once in a while I'd stop and look, curiosity, read the stones. Fast forward 25 years, I find out at least half those people in that graveyard are my relatives.
That's cool.
Now, my family did not know that. It was always, I always wondered why nobody ever bothered looking. Well, they didn't care. They just didn't care. They knew a few family stories, and that was it.
And you probably primed yourself for becoming a genealogist by riding through that graveyard.
That's possible. And I had a great aunt who lived in the city of Boston, and she was fascinated by family history. So she would tell that handful of stories, just enough that it piqued my interest to come back round to it now 25 years later. And for her, it was a case of pointing to gravestones that were in the Boston graveyard and saying, okay, that's so-and-so, that's our 14th great grandfather, and then tell stories about the people who were in those graveyards or in those neighborhoods. I think it gives you perspective. Now, when you can walk around an area where your ancestors lived, even if you don't live there now, go back there.
Yeah.
And do the research locally so that you actually feel what it was like to live there. See the old buildings, see the old graveyard.
Yeah. Touch it. Walk on the same ground. Sarah, do we have more photos of the week or more fun stuff to look at before we move on to
to continue with Mayflower stuff? Yeah. So real quick, we will talk about, our profile of the week, not related. Next week, our profiles of the week will be related to this, but this week, it's actually James Bond related. Our profiles.
Why don't we just jump to next week real quick?
Well, because they're not ready yet.
I'm just teasing.
I know, you're just kidding. Okay. So our main anchor point was Shawn Connery because he recently passed away. So that's what kind of created this theme of James Bond. It was recently also James Bond Day. James Bond's from Scotland. He actually passed away in the Bahamas. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that that's where he passed away. So obviously he was one of the James Bond characters. And we have all these other James Bond's characters. People that play James Bond, but also people who have played other characters in James Bond, like Odd Job, the author of the Bond novels.
Moneypenny on there?
Is who? Moneypenny, Lewis Maxwell.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome.
Born in Canada.
Of course.
The best.
Her mother was a nurse. and her father was a teacher. And yes, and she was part of the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts.
And she played one of the best secretaries ever. I actually think she was really the boss of the whole place, and they were just hiding her in plain sight.
And then we have a couple of people who played M. John Huston, who had a lot of wives, apparently. Oh, that looks like a duplicate. Uh-oh, gets to work.
Uh-oh.
You know who he's the father of, right?
Wait,
Angelica.
Angelica Huston. Oh, oops. Probably shouldn't have opened that. I didn't realize that. Private profile. Okay.
Ooh.
Then we have John Lee, born in England. John Huston was born in Missouri. Yeah, so we have, who are you most closely connected to?
I had not checked. I
checked. I think it was Ian Fleming that I was closest to. 22 degrees.
I'm crossing my fingers for Moneypenny. Yeah, fascinating.
Let's look at the connection finder. Who am I? Oh wait, hold on. Let's go to my profile and go to the bottom.
I'm 18 degrees from Pamela Cully.
I see 22 from Ian Fleming.
Who's
I'm 26 from Lewis Maxwell.
Oh, I did this last week too. I'm closest related to our profile of the week person.
I'm not. I'm 26 degrees away from Sean Connery. Oh, through my mom? Oh my gosh, it's never through my mom. Let me tell you, it's never through my mom's side. Never, ever. But here this one is. That's kind of exciting to me. Very exciting. I don't think you guys, it's always through my paternal grandmother, every single connection, but my mom. This is my mom's side. Was Sean Connery related to Mary, Queen of Scots? I don't know. Is he?
And couldn't she find a better place and time to ask that kind of a question to you? Really? You want her to do some research right now on this program. Hillary Gadsby says she's closest to Diana Rigg. Ian Fleming, Benjamin, says he's 18. Nice.
See, everything else is through my grandma. My grandma. Bernard Lee. 23 degrees. Okay, so yeah, those are our profiles of the week. James Bond. James Bond. Okay. And see, look, next week's profile for first Thanksgiving features. So we actually post this a week before so everybody can kind of join in and help improve the profile. So if you have any suggestions for profile of the week or themes, or want to help improve the profiles, you're more than welcome. Abby usually posts this the week before they get featured. And then help us plan future themes. We can go here. So we have, in December, we have rock legends, newspaper founders, game show hosts, which was actually prompted by Alex Trebek's death. Then we have Christmas-related stuff. But then if anybody can think of any other kind of themes that maybe would work better for a certain week and you have profiles thought up, hit us up here in this G2G post. So you can help us plan profile of the weeks. So there's that. Okay. So now let's talk about
52 photos.
And it kind of ties into the theme for Mayflower Thanksgiving Thankful. So let's see. We only have 8 photos. I think I've noticed, like, if a theme is a little bit more difficult to show in a photo, we won't have as many photos. But This is a little newspaper clipping for
50th
anniversary. That's cute. The couple requests no gifts, so just keep that in mind. We have Lois Whittingham and Albert Whittingham. Family group. That's cute. That's a cute photo.
That is a cute photo.
And I think everybody's tagged. No,
That
one
looks
person's
like-
missing.
Never mind. Our premier, when he's giving COVID updates, he stands at the very front, and then everybody kind of stands in an arrow shape behind him, and that reminded me of.
Well, this is a cute one.
Oh, I like that.
Leroy Nelson came home from being off in the war.
1945, so probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a very thankful family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, cool! There's a Thanksgiving picture. Or is it?
Raymer family. That's cute. They're thankful to be together. A baptism. Just thankful for their child. Thankful.
The child's name thankful.
That would be cool. I want. That'd be a. I wonder if
Yep.
anybody.
Yep.
It's time to go searching for somebody's name thankful. Okay.
I've got a thankful fish.
Meeting my second cousin Dennis after 55 years. I wonder if they met through
DNA.
yeah,
Ooh.
or
I said
something. Thanksgiving with the Bakers.
That's cool.
We got a
Look at
big
that
turkey there.
They didn't even get to eat yet. They made him take a picture first.
I know that's why this kid's like, ugh.
Come on, let's eat. Let's eat.
Oh, feed me.
Oh, that was it. Let's go look at the G2G post, see if there's anything else that people posted. Oh, I always felt thankful to meet my great Nana, Elise Mae Mims, who died at age 106. Wow. 106.
That's oof. Oh, there we are, back from the war again.
Oh, yeah. See, back home from being on a destroyer that saw a great deal of action in World War II.
Is that Alexis?
Yeah.
Alexa.
Max, you just stop. I actually have two now, so I got another one. So we have this is a family reunion at my Uncle Don and Aunt V's farm at Thanksgiving.
Nice.
4 generations of my family are represented in this photo. Cool. Okay, I would like to say how grateful I am for the clerk who bothered to put a marriage note in the margin of a baptismal register. My father remembered some of the family had gone to Panama, but always thought it was Panama, Ohio. This one record shifted our research 15 years ago to smooth the road before us.
Oh my goodness, that's
Wow.
an interesting. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's something to be thankful for.
it is.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Oh, look, they found, thanks to WikiTree and our DNA match, we found each other again after 55 years.
How cool is that?
That is cool.
Yay. So this person, they're thankful for their maternal grandparents, Alfred and Louis Whittingham. When I was 5, my parents split up. We moved an hour south so we could live next door to my grandparents. They were the ones who took care of us when my mother had to work and through the summers while we were out of school.
Nice.
Well, here's one that wasn't in there. Great-grandaunt Catherine Taylor Coleman must have been thankful to have 5 living children nearby as she was a widow nearing the age of 80.
Nice.
Something in
common for
Russian.
Linda.
My wife's paternal grandfather was captured by Russian soldiers in May of 1945 in Kurland. He was a prisoner of war. Through this small newspaper article, his acquaintances heard that Gustav Ernst Peterson had come home from captivity as a prisoner of war after a short stopover in the Friedland transit camp in Hesse. A few days later, A few days earlier, he had sent a short telegram from Friedland to his family, "Come home, Gustav." That's cute.
Wow.
We have a tombstone here. So Mum Bit was a slave belonging to John Aisley. In 1780, she heard the words of the new Massachusetts Constitution, "All men are born free and equal." Realizing that these words applied to her, she appealed to Theodore Segwig, a local lawyer and abolitionist who successfully won her freedom. In gratitude to him, she worked for him for many years.
Nice.
Very good.
Then the anniversary photo. Well, looks like another maybe Thanksgiving photo.
Yep.
Maybe. Oh, just a coincidence that they were all together. And we have this one. "We're all thankful that my grandma was well enough to pose with us for this last photo taken in August 1960, 8 months before she died." Aww.
Nice.
So those are our photos of the week.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing your photos.
Back when you were talking about walking through the graveyard and stuff, you had this comment to your Benjamin had this comment to your thing. I didn't want to miss it, but it's interesting when we were talking about. Well, Bobbie was talking about riding her bike through a graveyard, not realizing that her people were in that graveyard that she used as a shortcut. So Benjamin said that he has a Bible and he didn't recognize any of the names till later. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Fran came in late and she was afraid she had missed the Mayflower.
Oh, I was just going to say that. We have not yet talked about Mayflower stuff.
So she wants help with George Soul's Bobbie.
Got it.
Got that one?
Yep.
Okay. Got Bobbie on the case. And then apparently Jackie found their 2,806 profiles on WikiTree with the given name Thankful.
Yay! And
thank you for that.
Your mom, there's no relation between Mary, Queen of Scots, and Mr. James Bond himself. So.
Oh well, 23 degrees away though.
Yeah, Shawn Connery.
Give it up.
Yes. So now we can go into the Mayflower Project with Bobbie. So Bobbie, did you know you had Mayflower ancestors before during the Mayflower Project, and that's why you joined the Mayflower Project, or was it?
Yes.
Yes.
When I was a kid, again, back to the geographical position, when I grew up in elementary school, we used to do a project around Thanksgiving where you were supposed to do a little bit of genealogy, see if you were related to somebody from the Mayflower or from Revolutionary War. Mostly it was like DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution. And you were supposed to write, like a report, or you wrote an essay, that kind of thing. Anyway, you do that a few years, and then you start to think, well, maybe I should go a little further. Mm-hmm. And I had gone and asked my relatives who were still alive from a couple of generations back, who are we related to? And my maiden name is Madison, and my great aunt loved to say that we were related to the president. Wrong, lie, all lies. He's a Scot by chance. Anyway, and on my mother's side, she had said, well, I know my grandmother was from Cape Cod, and I remember her saying something about Mayflower, but I've never looked into it. Right. So about 1982, somewhere around the time I was having children, I decided, I think I really want to find out. And this was when the genealogy boards on the listserv started to open up. And I ran across somebody who knew how to do all the research very easily, and he got me started. And within, I would say, 6 months, I had the tentative line figured out to the first one, which was Stephen Hopkins. Quite a few years later, when I started on WikiTree, I looked into it and I thought, okay, let's see if I can prove this here. And I started from Stephen Hopkins, and at the other end, me, and kind of worked my way to the middle, knowing that probably it was right, but hadn't proven it. There were a couple of generations in there in like the early 1800s that were really difficult to prove. They didn't have birth records as a registration system. It was just, you were lucky if you found their baptismal record, that kind of thing. But I got fortunate and got out to Cape Cod one day and went through the cemeteries. Me and cemeteries, what is this? Got to the cemetery and found the gravestone of these two ancestors that gave me the proof. They were side by side, husband and wife, and right next to them were their parents. So all right there in that one little package.
That never happens.
No, it doesn't. It never happens to
No,
me.
you can never tie it up that neatly.
No.
Anyway, so on WikiTree, I started to build my line, and that was at the stage where, where we all start. Gee, I wonder how you put the sources in, trying to figure out the formatting and so forth, and got some help from a couple of people that were already on the Mayflower Project. And through that, I just kind of got sidelined into Mayflower just because it was so interesting. And the more I looked, the more I realized it wasn't just the one line. There are two other lines that all stem from this one great-grandmother of my mother's, who was born on Cape Cod. We were talking about thankful. One of my ancestors is Thankful Fish, and her daughter or granddaughter is Temperance Fish. And Temperance Fish is the great-grandmother that I'm talking about from Cape Cod. All the
What was
Puritan
her nickname? Did people call her Temperance, or was there a nickname?
No, her middle name was Emma, so she went by Tempe Emma or Emma.
Oh, nice.
Or Tempe.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. That was
Not at all. So all the puritanical names come up when you delve into those lines. I cannot imagine going through life with the name Thankful Fish.
And when you first said that, I thought you meant like that you had a fish.
That was like,
I wasn't like making a connection. I made the wrong connection. I don't know.
Well, of course, who would ever want to call their child Thankful Fish? Temperance Fish.
My son spent some time in Ghana. He is an African drummer, and so he spent a few weeks in Ghana studying drumming in a village. And some of the names of the village children are very similar. They're like youthful or thankful or sunshine, or they're all these empowering, uplifting type names. So I thought that was cool.
Like they try and give you a description at birth, or something to aim for. A goal in life is to be what your name gives you.
Luther, go to your profile page and go to your family tree and tools, then go down to the ancestor list. That's the app, that's Chase Ashley's app, and put your profile ID number in that and go down the drop down and find the Mayflower list and click on it and see if your Browns are in the Mayflower.
Were there any people on the Mayflower with the last name Brown? I think that's also what he was asking.
Oh, I know that, but I just felt like.
Oh, okay. So I have the.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna, unless you were gonna because I pulled up the project page for the Mayflower, so I was going to share that
Mm-hmm. There's
really
also
quick.
a category of all the passenger names.
Well, if you want to share that, or
Let's see. Let's see if I can do that here.
share your screen if you want.
I'm going to claim ignorance. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, bye, Bobbie.
Did she just leave?
I think she clicked the wrong button.
What did you say to her, Sarah?
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will share that. Okay. Mayflower passengers. This is a category. So 107 people.
Get on down to the Browns there. Let's see if we find any Browns.
Brown. There's a brown with the E.
Yep.
Brownie. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go. Brownie. Do you think that you pronounce the E on the end of that, Sarah?
No.
Oh,
Silly.
Brown. There you go, Luther.
Now you have some work to do to see if your browns are connected to these browns.
To Peter. Peter
Brown.
Your pumpkin eater.
Peter, pumpkin eater.
Brown.
Sorry. A lot of Hopkins, Billington. Okay.
Now you'll notice a lot of them died that first winter.
Yes.
See the death dates there.
Yeah.
Anne has just done a really good page on the monument that's in Plymouth to those that died that first winter. Let's see if I can remember what the page is. It'll come to me eventually. But it lists all of the poor folk who arrived and then died within 6 months or a year. Let's see if I can
Okay,
find it here.
so let me go back to the Mayflower Project page. So I guess if people have any questions for Bobbie about the Mayflower, you can work on that. But currently, right now, what's the project's goals?
It's always ongoing, the same thing, which is to try and develop the profiles of at least the first 3 generations, preferably 5 generations. It's a finite group in that you don't have that high of a number of people to create, but documenting each one of them thoroughly is the hard part.
Yes.
Use some really good resources. The Mayflower Society has got, of course, the series of silver books. A lot of local libraries have these on the shelf. They are sort of the Bible of the Mayflower Society. When they've completed one of these silver books, you can go in. Each person who's shown in those 5 generations, it's got the source information, the original source information to go to find the proof. So even though you look in the book and you say, okay, so my ancestor Hannah Maker, who married Reuben Covell, they're in the book, therefore I'm a descendant. Fine. But if you want to really do the work, you look at the resources that are shown there, go in and find the original deeds, the birth, marriage, and death records. It's that kind of heavy research that makes the project so complete. Now, if you can complete a profile of one of your ancestors that's in that first 5 generations, pointing to all of the original source documents, that's what makes it a really complete profile.
Yep.
And then, of course, to write their story. to actually write the biography in such a way that the person comes alive, they're interesting. You can read through their story and picture their lives. And I think that's really the hard part, to put those two big parts together, the source records and then the bios, to create a full picture, and a proven picture.
Yeah.
Well,
WikiTree really does provide a really good place, and I talk about that a lot, is WikiTree can provide a place where you can build out the skeleton of a profile. You can list the names and you can do bullet lists of all of these facts anywhere, but you cannot give a profile the color and the lushness and the depth that WikiTree can do.
their life story.
Yeah, you can add so much color on WikiTree, and that's just so cool. And you just explained it so well, Bobbie. I had a question. Benjamin Molesworth wanted to know if there are any records for the ship, the second ship that were coming out on the second ship. The ship failed and had to turn back. The Mayflower Project is based only on the people that actually made it, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But is there any information in the project about other ships that tried and failed or anything like that?
I'm going to have to go and look. I have to admit to being like the third hand on the project.
The third hinge?
Third hand.
Oh, third hand.
It's been handed down over time.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think it sounds like a great project for Benjamin to work on.
There you go.
Benjamin, that's an interesting thing, and obviously you kind of stumped our guests. So,
right, that's a good point. A lot of them did stay behind because of the leaky ship. Most of them came over in the next couple of years on the next few ships that arrived, and did eventually join. Some stayed behind in the end. I think if I had gotten on a leaky ship, gone out to sea and come back a couple of times, I probably would have thought, maybe I'm not meant to go. So perhaps some of those people decided, they would stay back in England and help support the colony from afar. Yes, I'm seeing the questions. I'm trying to remember the name of the other ship. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
No, Bobbie's on the search.
Benjamin, come on, you got to be here. Come on, Benjamin. I should stop saying Benjamin because my middle kid spent the night last night and he's asleep right above me. Not like in the room above me, and I keep yelling Benjamin.
It's the Speedwell.
It's kind of like when you're calling Alexa.
Be like, yeah, Mom, what?
The second ship was the Speedwell that turned back.
Speedwell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You should have like a Speedwell project. Failed.
There you go.
Like a sub-project.
And
within the Mayflower.
what happened to them?
Stop saying it.
Like a free space. Maybe there already is one.
There is.
Who knows?
Did you find it?
Go away.
Yep, there's a space page for it.
There is?
Well, was also used in bringing the Montbéliard immigrants from to Nova Scotia. That ship, the Speedwell.
Okay. There you go.
So, Bobbie, how does somebody join the Mayflower Project?
Really?
On WikiTree, to join it, there is a G2G page, a query. Let's see if I can find the current one. Hold on. You sign up there. There you go.
Is this the current one?
Let's see. Yes, that is the one.
Okay.
Current
Very
one.
good.
And we try and cover all the points there because it is important to have members understand what they need to do to join. You have to be pre-1700 badged for obvious reasons. All of the people in the project are pre-1700 and only pre-1700. Secondly, we ask you to add the tag so that you pick up any G2G queries that come through on your feed. We require that everyone be honor code signatories. You gotta follow the rules. It's really important here. You're talking about early ancestors and ones that we all share that are in this project. We're in this project for a reason. We all share these same 102 people. Once you have joined the project, mainly it's through the G2G feed that we communicate with each other and through the profiles that we all work on. So far, most of the project tends to be people choosing their own little path. You know, here's me, here's my Mayflower ancestor, and they work their way through that. Other people find some little niche, like we were talking about Speedwell. I mean, that would be.
I was going to open that page.
Yeah.
Look at it real quick.
That's a fascinating story, and I really like Benjamin's idea on that. To follow the people that were, bless you,
excuse me,
and the ones that came back, came in later. I think it was on ship Anne that a lot of them arrived on. Excuse me.
You have a Mary Chilton question. Mm-hmm. Will we ever know her mother's name?
Oh, never say never. I think a lot of the research that's been done over the last couple hundred years is based on documents that have shown up over time. Some of them are in archives in Great Britain or over in Holland. People who work with the Mayflower Society are always trying to delve into the old archives. You never know what's going to be found. And lots of times it's sort of a triangulation of multiple documents. They'll say, okay, so-and-so is mentioned here in this will, but she's not given a maiden name. But over here, her sister, we think, was named in this document. And then over here in this third document, it mentions that they are sisters. Therefore, the parents are this person, you know. There was a fairly recent discovery on Stephen Hopkins, which has been ongoing. In 1998, somebody found, let me think, was it Caleb Johnson? No, forgotten.
She's not talking about the physicist either, just to make sure.
No. Somebody found records that pointed to the possibility that Stephen Hopkins came from a particular area. Then about 5 years later, another researcher went and did almost a record inventory throughout this entire area in England and found that his birth record was there. The hard part was to prove that that particular Stephen Hopkins was the same as arrived in Plymouth. Well, they went through all of the records and found that his children's baptisms were in a neighboring town. His parents' marriage record and his siblings and his birth records were right nearby. Over time, yes, you know, people still are finding the records that belong to these people. So it is possible to prove things. Whether that particular record for her mother is going to be there, who knows? Who knows?
It's true. You never know if we can find something in the future.
Yep. Exactly.
There you go. Kudos. Great job. And it looks
But
like
it
a
says
great project.
great project.
Even if she says she's only the third one, the third wheel, we know. We know.
A lot of projects that happens though, they get handed down from leader to leader.
Yes.
I've had great previous leaders. They've done so much good work over time.
I have been running across some of our interactions, Bobbie, in my emails working on the Galding project over the weekend, only because you and I have talked so much that I was thinking about you yesterday, actually.
Good luck, I hope.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there anything I don't know, seeing if there were any other questions in the chats, or is there anything you wanted to bring up, Bobbie, about the Mayflower Project?
You have 4 minutes.
I think my biggest suggestion with people joining the project or existing members who are continuing their work is to, as with everything on WikiTree, communicate. Get into those profiles, put your comments on there. If you find some new sources, post them. Now, Family Search about a week or two ago started sending out emails to their members, showing them what their potential Mayflower ancestry or Mayflower line was. And so we've gotten quite a few new people saying, oh, gee, great, I'm related to Stephen Hopkins or whatever. And they jump in and they start building their line. But those lines are very often already there. So it's really critical for newer members to take a look, find the Mayflower passenger, and work your way down through WikiTree until you find the end of the line, and then start building down to you from there. Of course, nowhere should we be creating duplicates, and it's so tempting to just get in there and start creating this line that Family Search handed you. You got to put the sources on there. You got to build each profile carefully. Chase's family list maker, that list maker, ancestor list maker, is marvelous. It'll show you where the line to you is, and then you can go in and work on those intermediate profiles to get them proven. That's a big help to everybody on WikiTree, in that it helps the other guy who comes along later and says, gee, my great-great-great-grandfather was so-and-so. And then that entire line back to the Mayflower is already built for them, and they can see how they're related. As with everything, create those. How do you struggle to get them? Reading Benjamin's other comment here. Do you struggle to get them many generations back before Mayflower? Our project is pretty much based on the day they landed in Plymouth. The prior generations, we certainly do try and document, and there's a fair amount of information out there, but our focus is from Plymouth on to the future.
The third, you said 3 generations is what your project is, the scope.
Actually, the actual parameter is any descendant born by 1700.
Okay.
So that tends to be somewhere between 3 and 5 generations. And that's the current extension of it. We, again, are just trying to keep it compact so that that portion of it done really well. Over the years into the future, yes, we'll probably go 5 generations on all the lines to be sure that they're all completed. We have somewhat limited resources. We have about 300 current members, badged members. And as with all of us, we all work on a little piece, a little bit at a time. So it is a slow process. especially when the documentation is relatively hard. You've got to go in and find all of those deeds, wills. It's not just looking in the birth, marriage, death records. It's a little
I've done some research into Maine, and a lot of people don't realize that Maine was a part of the Massachusetts
colony.
And in Maine, one of these towns I wanted to do, they didn't have any digitized records. They didn't have a project set up to digitize those records, and they had no interest in it. I'm like, how could you not have an interest in it? And I had to supply them with my professional credentials to be able to do research.
No.
And I was like, do you, and supposedly you're supposed to have a card in Maine that you are a professional researcher to be able to access. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, I'm in Canada, A, B. Yeah. I found it very frustrating. And the line actually is a Mayflower line that I was working on. It's out further in the generations. But yeah, I found that very frustrating.
Was it a very small town?
No.
No. Huh. No. As the small towns, I can kind of understand because they want to try to keep the original records from getting too much exposure.
Oh, you should have heard. The lady was like walking downstairs with me on the phone. Like, oh, they're in the basement somewhere. And I'm like, what? Is there a humidity level in that basement that's correct? You know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can make like official WikiTree professional.
Yeah.
You're a WikiTree researcher.
Fancy card. Yeah.
Basically what it was that you had to have this card. You had to buy this card to be able to do research. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, no, just let me know what the records say. It was an interesting foray.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Oh, well.
So I didn't see any other questions come in. So Bobbie, how, like, I guess it's hard to gauge, but since you have that like 3 to 5 generations, how many of those passengers are complete, I guess, you know, or have been more, you know, I guess it's hard to.
Which one's like, kind of finished?
Yeah, I guess if that have been like worked on the most, or if there's a lot that still need lines done, you know, lines researched.
They all need work. Mm-hmm. All the original passengers are built.
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority of them are in quite good condition. The second generation, I believe, is all built. And the third generation, most of the profiles exist. They aren't, that third generation is where I think the majority of the work needs to be done. Mainly because then we can see the next generation. You want to have that little bio at least that gives the basic information, and then the children,
right?
The children, so that the rest of the tree can be connected easily. I've never actually done a survey of quality per se, but the first generation is in very good condition. Second generation needs work, and the third generation really could use some help. That's where I think the project needs the most work right now.
Okay, good to know. Anybody else have any questions for Bobbie about the Mayflower Project or anything in that realm before we head out for the day? I don't think I have any questions. I don't think Mags has any questions. Well,
I'm not questions.
But if you do have
all
questions,
the answers, Bobbie, you don't have to have questions.
Well, if you do end up having questions later, you can message Bobbie on WikiTree.
Yes.
You know, you just search for the search the easiest way to search for the Mayflower Project. She's listed as the leader there, so you can just click on her, click on a link, and you can send her a PM.
Third wheel. Did you say leader, comma, third wheel? No.
Oh yes, and Chris mentioned I'm actually having an Instagram interview later by a young genealogist in the realm. So I'll kind of talk about WikiTree and my own stuff.
Cool.
Excellent.
So
By
that'll
Daniel
be.
Genealogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's over in England, and I think he is 17-ish. I don't.
Nice.
I'm not sure how old he is,
Nice.
but
Nice.
you know, he's getting these young genealogists into the world, and so he wanted to interview me. So we're gonna do that. So it'll be fun.
Nice.
That would be.
Have
Mhm.
fun with that.
Yes. And so I guess we will see everybody next week, right? Yeah. I'm just thinking, make sure it's not the first Wednesday of the month next week. It's not. So we will see you next Saturday. And thank you, Bobbie, for